So hello and welcome back to the Cynic's Guide to Hippie Shit. I am here once again with Shelley Murray and we're going to be talking about witchcraft. So hello.
Hello, my lovely. It is nice to see you again. It is nice to be back. I'm not sure how much has changed since I've seen you. It has grown and expanded, but yeah, all part of the journey. Part of the journey.
So what was it like? So over the next few episodes, I'm going to be sharing the interview we did 3 years ago. And
3 years. Where does that
um
go?
yeah, 3 years. And so I've been editing it and adding the words to because it was just audio, and I've been listening back to what we discussed and being feeling quite inspired by it, I
Oh,
have to
I
say.
like that.
Yeah. And kind of fired up for kind of just getting back into just speaking to amazing people about weird shit. And obviously
Amazing weird shit.
I then sent you the link so that you could have a little look. And what did you think of yourself 3 years ago?
Well, I was quite surprised to be honest, because oh, here I go, off I go again. I think we don't really give ourselves credit, do we, for the progress that we make, the way that we are and who we are in general. Because if I were to think about me and the way I would talk about witchcraft and everything 3 years ago, from where I am now, I was expecting to sound a bit dense, if I'm honest. I was expecting to be stuttering. I was expecting to not be very confident. It was my first kind of ever big thing, recorded thing that I've done. And I was expecting to kind of stumble over my words. I was expecting to hear myself not know what to say and struggle to find answers to questions. Then when I listened to myself, I was like, oh, I was good back then. That's all right then. So yeah, 3 year ago me quite impressed me when I listened to them.
Good.
And that was the first time that you and I had kind of, well, I don't think we'd physically even met before,
No,
had we? It was all
no.
via email and everything before that. And we had you doing all kinds of magic and questioning the way the universe works in general. Yeah, it made me happy listening to those.
So I listened back, and so in a couple of episodes' time, there will be the episode where you actually lead through a spell, a very simple spell. And as I was editing that episode, I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go and do that spell. So I went downstairs and I got my bay leaf, spoiler alert, and I did that little spell. And there was just something about the power of ritual and getting back into that I thought was really, really special.
I think that, no matter if you're working from a law of attraction point of view, you want to work from a witchcraft point of view, spirituality in general, whatever you want to label it as, the idea of using focused intention and pulling all that energy in and directing that energy into one little moment of time, one thought, one desired outcome. I think there is such it brings such a feeling of empowerment, and it really helps you to, I guess, feel in control of the stuff that's going, not quite so well in your life. It's like, right, I can get a hold of this. I'm going to put some magic into this. I can do this for me. Not having to rely on anyone else to sweep in and save you, not having to, sit and beg and plead at the universe, please help me, please help me. It's about, okay, I'm going to take this on. I'm going to do it. Taking responsibility, owning your shit. I do believe it's called in the world. And yeah, and whether it's casting circles. And I think I even said this in one of the episodes, casting great big circles using 400 candles and writing a 4-page goddess invocation to whoever, or whether it's literally just burn a bay leaf over the kitchen sink. It's just brings you. I've developed a new word called witchability. And
Ooh.
I've totally made it up, witchability. And witchability for me is the feels, the feelings and the kind of that you get when you step into a witchy kind of power zone, if you like. So if you So when you were burning your bay leaf and you were like, oh, this feels exciting, this is witchability. And for anything to, you know, come of a spell that you cast, I think you've got to have the witchability, because, well, without it, it's just like, well, you just burn the bay leaf. There's no energy pouring into it. There's nothing behind it. And the more confident you feel in your role as a witch or magic maker, the more likely you're going to get a positive result, because you are allowing, your vibrations are high, everything's open, you're receptive, and you're allowing more of that energy from the stars and the planets and the trees and the raindrops and the candle flames and the universe, or wherever you think it comes from. You're allowing that energy to come in, focus into one like laser beam point, zoom, straight into that desired outcome, that whatever you wrote on the bay leaf. I think when we do something like that, it really helps us. I don't think it's any more powerful than just using the power of your own mind and your own thoughts, but it's easier, because if you sit and you think to yourself, right, I'm going to visualize myself getting that new job, I'm going to visualize myself living in my dream home, or being excuse me, having so much money in the bank, or whatever it might be. You can, but then your mind will wander off and you'll be thinking about, what am I going to cook for tea tomorrow? And, oh, I never finished watching that thing. And, oh God, I said I would pick her up at 6 o'clock and that's only half an hour. Whereas if you've got something to focus, it like, all your energy is like a big swarm of bees all around you. And when you let your thoughts float around everywhere, you've got bees heading off in every direction. Whereas if you can just focus your thoughts onto one thing, all those bees can go vroom in, make a little arrow, like on Winnie the Pooh, when they're like zooming along, there's a little arrow of bees straight into that desired outcome. And you're not wasting any on any other miscellaneous, random, inconsequential thought. You are just firing all those bees into your bay leaf spell, your wish.
I'm just thinking about how scatterbrained I can be such a lot of the time. Just trying to, if I could direct my attention just to the thing that I need to do rather
Yeah.
than social media quite a lot of the time.
Yeah. You
Or
just gotta get your
just this kind
bees
of
in a line.
like senseless, mindless online there. That would it would make a big difference if I could just focus. And I was just thinking, and I think there's something good about being scatterbrained in some ways, because I think that's how I pull lots of ideas in.
Yeah. It's an alchemist's brain.
Ooh, I like that. I
You can don't thank me, thank Denise Duffield Thomas. It's one of her business archetypes. It's just, I love that woman. But yeah, I've got an alchemist brain, and it means that we are literally like, there's 250 thoughts going off every minute of every second. Some of those are utter crap, but some of those are the most inspirational, wonderful ideas that ever existed.
nice.
Um, but our problem is now, and here I go, we're here to talk about one thing, and I'm leading you off down the garden path. The one thing that is really important is the fact that we, people with brains like us, have been brought up to believe that you can't be successful with a brain like ours. You're scatterbrained, you're ditzy, you've got your head in the clouds, you need to, take life seriously, you need to come back down to earth. I mean, how many times have you maybe heard those phrases going through school, maybe it's off relatives?
It's
But
interesting.
no,
I'd been describing my kind of way of thinking as undiagnosed ADHD, but actually, an alchemist brain is such a nicer way of thinking of it.
absolutely. And, whether you're diagnosed ADHD or not, I mean, some people want to go through that for the actual diagnosis, but to me, it's all just alchemy brain,
Mm.
alchemy brain, alchemy brain. And it's happening more because the world needs more people to be able to, manage more thoughts, because, if you can only manage two thoughts and then you crumble after that, you're not going to get very far in our modern world. And B, we need so many more solutions to so many more problems, that the universe's response is, oh, well, I'll just send people who can just conjure up and channel in the most amazing, inspirational solutions and ideas and way forwards. Yeah, and that's how our heads work.
I like that.
But we've been told
So,
it's wrong, and we're not wrong. Sorry, I'm
no,
yapping.
no, no, I love this. And
You know what
I
I'm
love the
like.
fact that I never know what direction we're going to go. And I love the fact that I've not spoken to you in like 2 years and it doesn't feel like the slightest.
They're just
So,
away.
it's great. So, yeah, witchability is the word you use.
Yeah.
So about 3 weeks ago, I was co-facilitating a women's half-day retreat thing at Mindful Therapies in central Newcastle, where I run a mindful therapy centre in central Newcastle, where I do a lot of mindfulness stuff. And the theme was urban abundance. It was the idea of bringing nature into, or seeing the nature that already is in the city, bringing it into the space and recognizing and celebrating the abundance that we have. So I got there before my co-facilitator and I started setting up. And I put 4 little tables around, and I put some of the plants that were around the building. I put them there, and then I added some kind of things of foliage that I'd collected that brought in, and some shells and some rocks. And then the co-facilitator turned up and got another table and put it out. And then I looked and I was like, I think we've got like 4 corners and an altar here. This was so
Oh.
witchy. And I loved it. It was so powerful. And it was like, it was celebrating nature, celebrating, and it was a women's space. It was celebrating our resilience. And I do this exercise where it's adaptive. I'm very good at adapting things to kind of, just tweak it to kind of fit different settings. And so it's this thing that in this setting was the resilience tree. So getting people to stand up, imagine roots coming out of their feet, and the roots represented everyone who supported them and helps them to be resilient. Their trunk was an affirmation. So what do you need to believe as you're breathing in? What do you need to let go of as you're breathing out? And that's what enables you to be resilient. And then your arms are the branches, and those branches are all of those moments when you practice self-care and look after yourself, so that you're already resilient. So that was the resilience tree. So I was bringing that, and I had all of the nature around me, and I was like, witchy.
Yeah.
So is that witchability, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that gives you those kind of feelings of, well, it's powerfulness, isn't it? And connection and loveliness. And when you've got, if you end up bringing in like the 4 corners, like the elements, earth, air, water, and fire, it's perfect balance. Absolute. And we've got spirit in there as well, but we are the representation of spirit. It's perfect balance. And when you feel balanced, you feel strong and powerful and magical and able and connected and all those lovely words. I think that's wonderful.
So is there anything that you can think of that has changed in your thinking since we first spoke?
I don't think anything's necessarily changed. And listening to myself, I was actually quite surprised how similar I thought then as I do now. I think for me, perhaps, I mean, I've always, and you know this, I've always been a very law of attraction. I call myself like a universe witch, which I'm not entirely sure is an actual thing, but that's my label and I'm wearing it well. And I think that whether we work with witchcraft, whether we work with law of attraction and manifestation, I'm seeing, I guess now in my work, I see so much more of an overlap in that, and I enjoy that. I really like to be able to see that. I've done a lot with my year 3 witches. I've done a lot of work on hidden beliefs and letting things go, getting rid of blockages and barriers, and bringing a lot of that goal setting, looking at resistance to, if we think to ourselves, oh, I want I don't know, a new house, and we then think, right, I'm going to do a spell for a new house. It's a bit like, without the planning and without the, okay, what could get in my way? How am I holding myself back? What hidden beliefs and what resistance am I carrying that could self-sabotage this? Why could it be frightening to actually get what it is that I want? It's a bit like setting an intention without any real intention to do it, going through the motions a little bit. So I've been really working my level 3s hard to be accountable for not just the surface stuff, because witchcraft is casting spells and carrying out rituals and talking to the goddess and everything else, but that is only a teeny tiny part of it. The biggest part of it is seeking to, I guess, become and grow into that next best version of ourselves. And that is by looking at the parts of yourself that you don't want to carry with you, whether it's, old trauma, pain, hidden unhelpful beliefs, whether it's like a self-sabotage mindset, fears of success, fears of failure, linking all of that stuff in with it, because anyone can sit there and carve candles and splash oil around and wrap pine branches round a wooden pole, or whatever you're doing with your spell work. I don't actually have a spell where you do that, but I might have to invent one. Anyone can go through the motions, but if you want it to work, you've got to do some of the inner work. And for me, when I teach, I am kind of a little bit more guided into addressing those things. So, if people think they're just coming to play, well, level 1, you do get to come and play, but from level 2 onwards, I start kicking your backside with absolute tough love, because there's no point in just going through the motions of these things. If you're doing a spell for money and it doesn't work, and then you do another spell for money and it doesn't work, rather than going, oh, witchcraft shit, I'm not going to do it ever again. You got to go, why is this not working? Because somebody else could do the same spell and get really, really good results. It's dependent on your own energy and what, I guess the vibration you're sending out, the signal you're sending out to the universe or the goddess or to nature or to your higher self that says, I believe it is possible. I can get this thing. I believe that it is safe for me to get this thing. And I believe that I am worthy and deserving of getting this thing. And if you don't feel each of those 3 points wholeheartedly, without a little squiggle of ego or a little squiggle of fear or a discomfort or a feeling coming up, if you can say those things, boosh, every spell you do will work, millions of pounds or any opportunity you want. But the likelihood is, because we all carry that baggage and that lack of self-worth or fear of rejection, or, is this stuff even real? Kind of vibes.
Hello.
If we've got any of that going, if we've got any of that going on, it'll instantly just, we stop the results of the spell.
So what I would like is for the £1 million to come in so that then I can believe. But you're suggesting
Sorry, that was the worst laugh I've ever done in my life. Oh my God. No, 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 no. Was it Wayne Dyer? I think it was Wayne Dyer.
not to be confused with Danny Dyer.
Definitely not to be confused with Danny Dyer. Wayne Dyer, who is just the most amazing, amazing man. He's not with us anymore. I talk to him frequently, but not in person. He said, what is it? Don't try and don't carry the value of I'll believe it when I see it. Carry the value of what is it? Oh God, I'm getting my words all jumbled up. But basically, don't believe in it before you get the proof, is what it is. I'll try and find that quote for you so you can put it somewhere.
Is it like I'll see it instead of I'll see it when
Yeah.
I believe it when I see it? It should be I'll see it when I believe it.
I believe it. Yeah. And just like, the money isn't, don't focus on attracting money to make you happy. Be happy and you will attract that money. And that's the hardest thing to do, because our reality gets in the way and convinces us that everything's shit. And if we look at reality and think everything is shit, then our vibrations crash and we can't attract anything decent for ourselves. You've been through my Taking Life from Shite to Bright course. That I kick your asses all the way through that about stuff like that, believing in things before they arrive, acting as if. So understanding there is a reality somewhere where that thing has already arrived. We ask for something, be it through spell work, be it through visualization, be it through just, hey, universe, I want £75,000. However we ask, the universe every single time says yes. Every single time says yes, produces it in energy form, but then we're really shit, and then we just won't let ourselves take a hold. And this is what manifestation means, to take it out of an energetic realm and make it in real in our here and now, so we can rub our grubby fingers through those notes or move into that house or go and get that job or find the partner or whatever it is that we're looking for.
And, in terms of things that have changed since we last spoke, I did manifest maybe a house and a baby.
Well, Rachel, I remember when both that house with your purple kitchen and that baby were nothing more than Sharpie marker scratches on a bay leaf or engravings in a candle. I once got a message at, it must have been about 20 past midnight one night. Rachel was doing one of my spells, burning a candle, and wanted to go to bed, but was worried about leaving the candle on all night. So I do believe she put it in a pan in the bath and put water in the water in the bath, so that if it happened to tip over, not only would the metal pan save it, but the bath water would stop her house from burning down entirely as well. So so she, she's not just, she doesn't just say these things, she does actually give this stuff a go. And yeah, I would say, I knew you before that baby, and I knew you before that purple kitchen house. And whether you want to believe it would have come about anyway, whether you want to believe it came about because you visualized it and you vision boarded it and you affirmed it and you believed in it, or, lit your candles, whatever, does it even matter? You got what you wanted. That's what I would say. And I think I've said this to you before in the past. We get to choose. We can choose magic or we can choose mundane. And someone said to me, it was in a group I was doing the other day, and I can't for the life of me remember who it was, but they said that I think it was their gran often says the time has to pass anyway. And I love that. And it's like, well, if the time has to pass anyway, we get to choose whether we make it a bit more fun and adventurous with burning bay leaves and engraving candles and casting circles, or if we choose to sit and feel helpless and useless and wait, blame everyone else and the state of the economy and the government and the world, blame all that stuff for the things in our life that aren't going very well, blame everybody else, or we can go, I don't like this, so I'm going to do something about it. Which feels nicer, How would you rather spend your time? The time has to pass anyway. And I wish I could credit that person, but I can't remember who it was that said it. But they were lovely, whoever they were.
Brilliant. Thank you.